So, the NBA recently released its MVP ladder, and LeBron James topped it. So, in this video, I'm going to ask the question, can and will LeBron James win MVP? And I think it's a pretty interesting question because I think he's got a good case, but there are also some reasons why he couldn't be able to win it, and there's some good competition this year. So let's start with his numbers, which is usually the base of an MVP case and, sort of the minimum requirement. And he's currently averaging 25 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 7.7 assists. So 25, 8, and 8. I think those numbers are certainly sustainable, and his assists could even rise up as the year goes on, because last year he averaged more than 10, so I don't see why he couldn't do it again. The Lakers are playing very well. They're currently 17-6. He had a great game against the Nuggets last night, which is a bit of the reason I'm doing this video. And he just seems in control of every game. He is also doing this on very, very good efficiency. 49.5% from the field, so almost 50%. 41% from three. That's a career high for him. He's shooting very, very well from three, and that's part of the Lakers system this year. Acquiring Schroeder has allowed LeBron to move off ball a little bit, and he's gotten a few catch and shoot threes, but he's also hit some tough, difficult threes. I think it's pretty impressive that LeBron, when he came in his early years, he was almost a non-shooter, and now he's worked himself up to being one of the best shooters in the league this season, statistically. And then 71% from the free throw line. He's never been a great free throw shooter, and I don't think that really matters. And the Lakers are 17-6, and they're second in the West. They have the best defense in the league, and they're playing very well, and they're led by LeBron. And I could definitely see them getting the number one seed in the West and in the entire league. And I think that would be a huge thing for LeBron's case. So let's look at his case. The numbers are good, not great. We've seen him post better numbers. Giannis posted better numbers last season. We've seen plenty of players post better numbers, but still very impressive. Let's call at the end of the season, they're 25, 8, and 8. Those are still very, very good numbers and show an all-round impact on the game. But his real case is the best player on the best team. That's a lot of the time where the MVP goes, and sort of rightly so. You think of value. Well, they're adding a lot of wins because they're the best player on the team with the most wins. And LeBron can definitely do that this season. I think there's no debate that he's the best player on the Lakers. Anthony Davis has not been great this season. Though his impact has been more defensive. So, LeBron, best player on the best team. That's a huge case for him. There's also the fact that he just won the MVP with the NBA championship and finals MVP with the Lakers. And I think that's a big thing. I feel like last year he didn't really have the statistical case, but people wanted him to reclaim his crown like he did in the playoffs. There was talk of Kawhi being the best player in the league, Giannis being the best player in the league, and LeBron put that all to bed in the playoffs. And I think he's undisputedly the best player in the league, and he is an NBA champion with the Lakers, and he's 36 years old, which I think does play a part because narrative is a part of the MVP, and it's the reason why Giannis just isn't winning it this year. And LeBron does have a good narrative and the right narrative that I think could see him through to winning the MVP. And there's sort of that maybe he should have won it last year. I don't think he should have won it statistically, but you could argue that he should have won the last 10 MVPs because he's been the best player in the league for over a decade. And I think that's part of the narrative. People want to reward that. This could be his last chance to win MVP as he ages and continues to take on a smaller regular season load. Even more impressive thing with those numbers is he's at a career low in minutes. Under 34 minutes a game, that's a career low. And that's because the Lakers have just been dominant this year. They're blowing teams out, and he can sit for the last half of the fourth quarter in some games. And then in the close games, there's some games where the Lakers aren't sort of coasting through three quarters, and then he just takes over in the fourth. We've seen against the Grizzlies. There's been a few other games, and I think that's very impressive. And those clutch plays and performances and numbers are definitely added to his resume. Against the Bucks, he had that really, really deep three over Lopez, adding to the 3-point shooting. So and I'm sure he'll hit some more game winners and have some more big moments as the year goes on. So I would say that overall is the pretty strong case, but the main case is the best player on the best team thing. Now, if we look at his competition, I said it's decent, but I feel like every other contender has its flaws. Starting with Giannis, Giannis just isn't getting it this year because he's not winning 3 in a row. That's been said plenty of times. If we look at his competition, starting with Luka Doncic, who is the preseason favorite, Luka, his team has been terrible. Well, not terrible, but they've been pretty poor. They have under 500 record, and he's just not winning it. And I don't see the Mavericks getting close to the Lakers record, so it'd be really tough for him to win it. Similar thing with Steph. Steph's been good this season, but I don't see the Warriors being a top 3 seed in the West. And then if we go to some of the more serious contenders, KD, Kawhi, Jokic, Embiid. With KD, I think he's going to struggle to win it with Kevin Durant. He is Kevin Durant. With James Harden and Kyrie Irving on his team, that seems like a lot of health and help. Also, health is a concern with KD too. So he's also missed a few games. So I think it would be tough for KD to take it from LeBron. With Kawhi, I just don't feel like Kawhi is ever going to win an MVP. The narrative just isn't there for him. Though he is a legit contender this year and has been many times, like in 2017. So it's tough with Kawhi, but he also just has a lack of personality and lack of people sort of wanting him to win it. He's just so quiet. It's tough when you don't have a presence in the media and you're not being talked about every day. So then you don't really have a narrative. If we go to Jokic has also been good this season, but LeBron just beat him when the Lakers played the Nuggets. He wasn't great in that game, and I feel like the Nuggets team record and their overall defense could hold them back. The Nuggets, one of the lesser defensive teams in the league, and I think they'll struggle to surpass the Lakers in terms of team record. And then with Embiid has also been good this season, but it's also with him like the health, and maybe these numbers are a little bit unsustainable and he'll come down to earth a little bit. And I also don't feel like he has as strong a narrative as LeBron, because I don't think anyone has as strong a narrative as LeBron. Why LeBron couldn't win, there's not many glaring weaknesses in his case. Obviously, the stats could be better, but I think those will be quickly explained by just the career low in minutes and that the Lakers are blowing teams out. Another thing is his help, but we've seen players win MVP with good help, like Giannis on the Bucks. Giannis has had good help on the Bucks for the past few seasons, and he still won it. Like, I don't think it's a huge thing, and Davis isn't playing great this season, so I feel like LeBron, as long as you're clearly the best player on the team, that's all fine. And then, I think the Lakers are going to be up near the top of the conference just because their defense is so great. Schroeder has been playing very well in a few games, and that's what you need from a guy like Schroeder. He can win you a quarter, he can win you a half, and then LeBron can take over as long as the other guys keep it close in the fourth quarter. And then just the defense means their record is very sustainable because it's hard to score against them, and they have a great clutch player in LeBron, and he's been the best player on the Lakers, so best player on the best team. As for any other weaknesses in his case, obviously if he takes games off or gets injured, and then also just with protocol and players missing games. But I think every player is going to miss a few games that it'll sort of be ignored in the MVP conversation, or not as big a factor as it is in other years when players are taking games off by choice or by load management. So if we get to my verdict, can he win it? I think he definitely can win it. I definitely think he has a great narrative and decent numbers, and he's the best player on a team that could be the best team in the league. I'm not 100% confident just because, things like help and just how many games he's going to play and things like that always worry me in terms of MVP conversations. And you never know. We're only a quarter plus into the season, not even a third. So he could just totally cool down, or, well, not that he's hot, but his numbers could just fall off. He could get injured. the Nuggets could win 19 out of the next 20 games with Jokic averaging a 30-point triple-double. Like, you just never know in the NBA. But I'm not super confident, but I'm decently confident that he's going to win it due to the narrative and him being the best player on the best team. But that's the end of this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.